I'm Gabby, and I interned at Gwinnett Medical Hospital this semester and last semester. Gwinnett Medical Center is a hospital that's located in Lawrenceville, and they have a bunch of different locations in like Duluth and Jones Creek and stuff. And then they're over 60 years old and ranked in the top 5% of the nation's rank for clinical healthcare. So this semester I logged in 60 hours at Gwinnett Medical. Basically, for the most part, I'm on floor 7 and 8, which is orthopedic surgery, med surg, and gastrointestinal surgery. I usually shadow nurses. In addition to that, this semester especially, I've been helping with payroll stuff because my other mentor is on maternity leave, and she takes care of like time cards and payroll. So I got to help a lot with that this semester. And also I had a few excursions to the emergency room and ICU. So these are the professions that I was exposed to. Surgeons and registered nurses, both of them have a really good outlook career-wise because medicine and healthcare are two fields that always need people because people are always sick, especially with the rising amount of old people that we're having because the baby boomers are getting older and they need more healthcare. One of my experiences was the emergency room. I actually was there last week and I got to spend a lot of time with some of the nurses down there. We didn't have any major traumas, unfortunately, and no code blues, which is cardiopulmonary arrest. So they stop breathing, their heart stops beating. We didn't have any of those, but we did have some traumas. Like one lady couldn't breathe, so they had to give her medicine that would open up her lungs. And I got to help with diagnosing her and taking her vitals and all that stuff. Also, I got to speak to some of the doctors, the trauma doctors that were in the ER, and it was nice because I was thinking about getting trauma certified because I want to be a neurosurgeon. So it was nice to get their insight on like what life is in the emergency room. Another one of my experiences was the neuro floor. I went to the neuro floor a lot more this semester than I did last semester because my mentors figured out that that's what I want to do with my life, so they were able to get me down there more. Basically, in the neuro floor, it's set up completely different than the rest of the hospital, like with see-through windows because we're talking people who had strokes, brain cancer, tumors, brain bleeds. One of the people that I saw, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but someone jumped off the 3rd floor of the Mall of Georgia, and he was one of the people that were in there. So it was cool, especially because that's what I want to do. Another experience that I had was the ICU. That again is set up differently than the rest of the hospital. Unfortunately, but fortunately for the people who were there were no code blues there either. But they do happen a lot, especially in ICU and the ER, but there were none while I was there. But basically, I talked to some of the ICU nurses, and it was cool to see people in critical condition, even though they weren't critical enough to like be about to die. And then my favorite experience was this guy on the orthopedic floor. Basically, the nurse was like, hey, do you want to learn how to do a blood transfusion? And I was like, of course I do. So she taught me how to do a blood transfusion. And then they also had to insert a catheter into him, which is the tube that goes into your bladder to make you pee. But the cool thing about him was that he had diabetes, he let it get out of hand, he got a cyst on his ankle at birth, his leg became septic. He was rushed to the hospital, had to get his leg amputated. While he was getting his leg amputated, he had a heart attack, he had to get a 5 bypass surgery, and his mom's house burned down. So it was pretty bad for him, but it was interesting to see because he was still in high hopes. So basically what I've learned is that I don't want to be a nurse. Nursing is nasty, pretty much, and it's not something that I want to do, but it has solidified my interest in being a surgeon because I've gotten to speak to them and see what they do. And internship has affected my future by solidifying my interest in neurosurgery, and I've learned a lot of things like how to do office work and all that stuff. And I mean, it was just a really cool experience for me, and it got me clinical experience, which is something that I'm really going to need going forward. So, yeah.
I have a question. So, were you able to use this experience at all in terms of your, were you able to get it in on your applications and stuff to Princeton? Do you think that it helped you?
I'm thinking it did because on my application I had to put like what I was interested in, So I put molecular biology as my major, but then I mentioned that I wanted to minor in neuroscience because I want to be a neurosurgeon. And then I listed it also as one of my classes because it asked for the classes that I'm taking. So I was like, oh, I intern at Gwinnett Medical. I feel like it helped. It might not have, but I think it did.
Are you going to press it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right. Thank you.